Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yoga and Yum podcast. I am your host, Sybil Shelton Ford, and this is the place where we practice deep mindfulness, radical self care, and living our lives on purpose so that we can experience more yum. And I am so glad that you are here. Today, we will have a little practice to soothe and balance our nervous system. Today, we're going to practice taking a few mindful breaths together. Now, I know what you might be thinking, like, well, do we really have to practice mindful breathing? Don't we just breathe on our own anyway? Yes. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that we don't have to put breathing on our checklist, because if that were the case, we would all be in big trouble. Mindful breathing is a little bit different. Why practice it in the first place? Really focusing on our breath can help us feel better now and to help us better handle the stresses in life in the future by soothing our nervous systems and actually even strengthening our calm muscles, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So when we think about the nervous system, we have two main parts, or two, I like to think of them as sides, like two main sides. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight, flee, or freeze response in response to an emergency or a stress. It's sort of our alarm. Like if you think about a fire alarm that goes off like, bam, bam, something's happening, do something. Then the opposite of that is our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. It's sort of our chill side. For most of us, the alarm side is overactive. We live in a really anxious world where everything seems like an emergency or a looming threat. What comes to mind when I think about that is watching the news. For me personally, I try never to watch the news. I kind of get the highlights from my husband because it's stressful to me. Watching the news, like most of the news is never great. Like most of it is pretty bad. They'll save some of the feel good stories toward the end, but like for those first 25 minutes, I am just a jittery mess. I'm not really in a true threatening situation, but it seems like there's this constant looming threat. And when we live in this environment where there are either real, true dangers or perceived dangers, our nervous systems take a huge hit, especially when this seems to happen every single day. And we are never able to truly turn off the alarm. So it's always kind of constantly going in the background. And it's a lot. It's a lot for us to take. So whether the actual emergencies are a thing or if it's a perceived threat, we kind of walk through life in this state of anxiety. At least that's it. That's how I feel when I'm not really purposely addressing it. And this really wreaks havoc on our bodies. Stress can literally affect every single organ in our body, and not in a good way. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and I can't remember the name of the author, but he really goes into this and he talks really more about trauma. So the bigger kind of stresses, but we can experience little traumas by simply watching the news. It can be little tiny traumas, and our bodies keep the score. It's not just in our brains. It literally, it lives inside of our bodies. So that's the bad news. But the good news is that there are many things that we can do to rebalance. And so today we will practice one strategy. And that strategy is we're just going to take a few mindful breaths. So breathing exercises, also called pranayama in yoga, can help soothe us and even strengthen the rest and digest side of our nervous systems. It's believed that the more we practice mindful breathing, the more adept we are at recovering from stressful events. This means that it can be much easier for us to move from the alarm or the fight, flee, or freeze side or state into rest and digest and chill. It's sort of like taking the rest and digest side to the gym and strengthening our calm muscles. But just like going to the gym, mindful breathing and other breathing exercises require practice. And so, how much practice? Well, if I speak from my own personal experience, I have found that even just 2 minutes a day can make a world of difference. Now, more than 2 minutes a day is also amazing, but sometimes I only have about 2 minutes a day. I even schedule it in like the first thing after I brush my teeth. I set my timer, literally set my timer for 2 minutes and drop down into my breath. And when I do it every single day, kind of like brushing my teeth, like I never skip brushing my teeth. If I never skip that part either, it kind of becomes part of my life. Like every day, 2 minutes minimum, I'm really dropping into my breath, and it sets the stage for the rest of the day. And I strongly encourage you to do something similar. Take your breath to the gym just for a couple minutes a day and notice how you feel. It takes some time to kind of build up that endurance, but it really makes a difference. So, without further ado, let's practice now. So, wherever you are, if you're driving, maybe this may not work if you're operating a car or heavy machinery, come back to this and do it when it's a little bit safer. But if you're in a safe place to practice, let's go forward. Let's do this now. So we'll start by, if you're sitting, to really plant your feet onto the floor. If you can, you can lie on your back or on your belly and do the same thing if that feels good. But from a sitting position, plant your feet on the floor and then gently lengthen your spine. So think about lengthening from the crown of the head, just gently up toward the ceiling. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe locate that space 2 inches below your navel and gently pull your navel in and up just a little bit to help support the spine. To not to cut off the breath, but just for some support. And if it's safe for you and you're comfortable with it, go ahead and close your eyes. This technique that we're doing today is called following the breath or just watching the breath. So we're not going to do anything to change it. In future episodes, we may go into some more specific breathing exercises, but just doing this a couple minutes a day has really profound results. So start by either yawning or finding a deep exhalation. And then on your next inhalation, just notice the breath, the air moving into the body, and notice where it flows. And then release that breath. And we'll just continue this way. Sort of notice how it flows in. Does it flow in a little bit more to the right or to the left? Just be curious. You don't have to really put a judgment on it. You're just noticing. And then notice how it flows out. Now try to relax your jaw and the muscles between your eyebrows. And just continue following the breath. If you feel called to, you can deepen it a little. Maybe as you breathe in, let the breath move downward a little bit toward the belly. Notice if it expands outward more as you inhale, or if it moves forward or back more. It's just a nice way to explore. Notice the sensations of it moving in. What comes up for you? Do you feel expansive or free? Notice the sensations as the breath moves out. What do you feel? Do you feel more grounded and connected? Do you feel a release or a relief? And then take a few breaths on your own, and I'll just stop chatting for just a few moments. And allow the next exhalation to just come. And then as you inhale, let the eyes open if they're closed. And then notice what that was like. How was that for you? How do you feel now after just a couple minutes of focused breathing? I would love to know in the comments what that was like for you. So please let me know. And if you would like more support or additional ideas on breathing exercises, consider joining my free Facebook group. It's called As You Are Yoga and Yum. I would love to see you in there. I have a few different breathing exercises that are really helpful, and they produce different effects in different people. They're kind of fun to play around with, and they are generally safe for the public. So I'd love to see you in there. Again, it's As You Are Yoga and Yum. Come join us. Thank you for listening, and thank you for practicing with me today. Please consider leaving a comment if this practice was helpful, and please share with your friends and loved ones. So until next time, here's wishing you all the yum in life. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day or night.